To dragoon someone, it refers to coercing or forcing them into action. But the phrase has a pretty interesting origin, and one that actually ties weirdly into the US Constitution. See, during the religious conflicts of the late 17th century, Europe was in turmoil. England had just invited a Protestant king, William, forcing James to abdicate. The continent was still reeling from the trauma of the 30 Years' War, in which Protestant and Catholic armies had clashed for 3 decades, causing famine and atrocity all over. By 1689, the Catholic monarchy of France had revoked the Edict of Fontainebleau, which had offered relative religious tolerance to the Protestant population, and perhaps one of the most passive-aggressive tactics of forced emigration began. As in most countries in Europe, the army had the authority to be billeted in public houses or civilian dwellings, at the expense of the local population. This had been a massive problem in the English Civil War, where mass amounts of soldiers would outstrip the local population and cause food and money shortages. The French would use their dragoons, which were mounted infantry, often seen as a rougher, cheaper and less civilized equivalent to the full-blown cavalry, and would forcefully billet them into Protestant households. These badly behaved dragoons would basically be encouraged to move into Protestant households, eat their food, drink their alcohol, and just cause general mayhem. The intended consequence being, of course, that these Protestants simply just give up and leave the country. And many did. Hundreds of thousands of Protestants fled France. And to pull this back to earlier, this is the practice that ultimately led to the Third Amendment of the US Constitution, which prohibits the quartering of soldiers in private homes without the owner's consent, especially in peacetime. In the American context, of course, this refers more to British soldiers who were often quartered in American households over the course of the many conflicts in the New World, where European armies fought each other, especially the unwanted quartering of soldiers during the Revolutionary War.